Welcome to On the Road in Hampton Roads. My name is Andy Bond, and Steve Goad and I are touring around Hampton Roads getting the wisdom of the entrepreneurs in our area. We like to think of it as giving the American entrepreneurial spirit a voice. Today we're with the owner, founder, and publisher of BearingDrift.com and Bearing Drift, J.R. Hoeft. J.R., thank you very much for joining us.
Andy, thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate being with your audience today to talk a little bit about business and where we are in terms of Bearing Drift magazine and a lot of the other stuff that we're involved with.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to found Bearing Drift?
Thanks very much for that question. Bearing Drift started off as what a lot of folks know as a weblog back in 2004. It was just me. I think my mom might have read it, and a friend of mine. And all it was just to exchange ideas, exchange thoughts, mainly comment a lot on links and news that we had been reading and maybe we didn't necessarily appreciate or agree with. It's turned into something so much more and so much larger. We really look at ourselves now as an information and news provider to the people of Virginia about politics, and mainly from a conservative perspective. It's been something that's been completely lacking in Virginia at a state level. And so we've also gone into the print market a little bit. So we've gone from a website which sells advertising to now a print magazine, when a lot of print are actually going to online exclusively.
I wanted to ask you about that. Why are you...
Sure. And so that actually is generating some revenue for us as well. And we do a number of other things too in terms of the media enterprise, a little bit of consulting now and then and that sort of thing. But yeah, I think about the print. There's something about having something tangible on the coffee table. There's something that maybe you might want to go back and refer to or look at again or something along those lines. And so we feel that print is actually very important. And it's important for our advertisers too, because where you see a lot of these times, election time, candidates are going to go ahead and they're going to put all these mass mailings out there, direct mail to folks. And what do you do when you get one of these, Andy? You look at it for maybe one second, and into the garbage it goes, into the circular file. With a magazine, with Bearing Drift, which caters to the political audience, a person's going to be looking at that magazine and at that ad that you put in that magazine 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 or 7 times, flipping by it. So they're going to see your material and your information far more than they would with a direct mail piece. So we feel print's pretty good, and especially for the articles and the content. Folks, again, can go back and they can refer to that, and they can really use it for their benefit and for their water cooler discussions.
Another reason for print, I would think, is the serendipity when people might come to a particular web page for a particular story or based on a particular search. But in a magazine, they flip through and find something that they might not have even known they were interested in.
Absolutely.
Have you seen that, or
Well, no. I mean, there was a lot of buzz, a lot of good, positive feedback that we got from our readers when we first went to print. You can see not the advertisers, but you can see the cartoons as well as interviews that we've conducted. There's also special articles that are written by individuals, like, for example, the Attorney General of the Commonwealth of Virginia, Ken Cuccinelli, who's been in news quite a bit, wrote an exclusive article, content-wise, for us. There's only one place you're going to get that, and that's in Bearing Drift magazine. And so folks will get that wide range of information that they need about Virginia politics, not only from subject matter experts, but also from our analysis and just regular news and information that we report on.
And a way of measuring your ability to do that is that I think you just won an award.
Yeah, well, it wasn't an award, but we were recognized by the Washington Post as having one of the top websites in Virginia. And as far as those that were listed, we were the #1 conservative website in Virginia, so we're happy about that.
Given your entrepreneurial spirit in founding this, and given your knowledge in the global economy, do you think American entrepreneurship is still flourishing, still able to flourish.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. You know, there are a lot of uncertainties that are involved when you try to create a business, when you try to develop a business. But I think it's just it's ingrained in the American spirit, the American way of life, to want to be entrepreneurial, to want to work for yourself, to want to live out that American dream. And so while I, as a conservative, am concerned about uncertainty at the federal level and even at the state and local level to a certain extent, and I'm concerned about overburdensome regulations on the American entrepreneur and small businessman. Those are things that we can control to a certain extent. We can advocate for, we can fight for. And that's what we're doing at Bearing Drift Magazine. So it's really twofold. Not only am I experiencing those entrepreneurial challenges firsthand as a business person, I think that actually makes it a little bit better on my behalf to be able to advocate for the small businessman on the magazine, in the magazine and in the content of the website.
Could you share for us and our audience one or two tips that you might give to people who are thinking about starting their own effort, their own business?
Well, clearly the government actually does have some very good resources for folks who are wanting to establish their own business. I think the Virginia Department of Business Assistance is an absolute gold mine in terms of trying to figure out whether you should be a sole proprietorship, an LLC, an S Corp, whatever. I think that your first stop probably ought to be the Virginia Department of Business Assistance. And clearly the Hampton Roads Chamber of Commerce is another valuable resource that you can use, and any of your Chamber of Commerces. We're here in Virginia Beach today on a glorious, beautiful day. But, anywhere your listeners or viewers might be, they have chambers of commerce to help you get your business growing, because it stimulates the local economy to have small business, to be able to employ individuals to live out the American dream and fulfill the American spirit.
Any advice on the mindset that they might bring to the effort, though? I mean, it takes a lot of intestinal courage to launch an effort.
Well, I think, not everyone is an entrepreneur. Okay, and this is the whole concept. There are some leaders, and in order to be a leader, you have to have followers. And I think the reality is that if you have a burning desire in your heart for a given idea that you want to produce, or that you want to make better, or that you want to sell, that you want to reach out to the community, live out your dream, fulfill that dream, and do the hard work that's necessary to do so. There's going to be a lot of people standing behind you to help you. Like I said, chambers of commerce are there, Virginia Department of Business Assistance is there. But in the end, you have to have that internal motivation to be able to do that, and you have to have the support of your family and your loved ones in order to be successful as well. If you have that, the world is your oyster.
Can you tell us once more how to get in touch with you, and how to reach Bearing Drift and learn more about what you're doing?
Thanks, Andy. I really appreciate that. Folks can go to bearingdrift.com. That is the flagship. That's bear, as in the animal, B-E-A-R, ingdrift.com. And you can also follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/bearingdrift, and friend us on Facebook, facebook.com/bearingdrift. And we'd love to have you sign up for our free magazine and newsletter as well. You can do that through the website. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you very much for your time, JR.
All right, Andy.
Really appreciate your sharing with us some wisdom. As Steve Goad and I go on the road in Hampton Roads, visiting from Virginia Beach, this is Andy Bond, and thank you very much for joining us. See you next time on the Road in Hampton Roads.